Other interesting political news, you have Ron DeSantis, and apparently is calling out Republicans for selling out. Now, this is on his individual profile on X, also known as Twitter, and he says before the quick little video, quote, by agreeing to the establishment budget deal, House Republicans are selling out everything they ran on in 2022. They promised to change the way Washington operates. They said that they are going to hold these agencies accountable. Instead, they're funding the status quo into perpetuity over the fear of a government shutdown. We need a president who will use the bully pulpit, lay a marker down, and stand strong to deliver results to the voters. I will do that just as I have as governor. Unquote. And for him, well, did okay on social media. Again, I took these statistics 24 hours after posting and got 360,000 views and 5.5 thousand likes. So not the best like ratio, but there's still some people liking him. And hilariously enough, it actually has a Skype logo on the video. And if you have any suggestions for picture-in-picture production software, I'm taking recommendations because I do increase the quality of the show, and I know that's something people would appreciate. But without further ado, I'll go ahead and play the audio really quick.
Then on this budget, look, this is just selling out everything that they ran on in 2022. You know, they said that they were going to change the way Washington operates. They said that they were going to hold these agencies accountable. You know, that's the thing. The House of Representatives is supposed to, because they're armed with the power of the purse, be the people's redress for when government misbehaves, when government violates people's rights, when government doesn't do its core functions like it's failing to do at the border. If you're willing to just simply fund the whole thing into perpetuity, then you're never going to get any of those practices change. And so he says, oh, well, we're really concerned about a quote, government shutdown. Well, what's going on now with the status quo is shutting down our country. Mm-hmm. It's shutting down the American dream. It's shutting down our sovereignty. Why would you want to just green light the current order of things, given how bad all this is? But, you know, this has been standard practice, I think, for Republicans for a long time. What you really just need is leadership. I mean, I think Trump, when he was president, he had an opportunity to change some of this. It just wasn't anything he wanted to fight on. I mean, he signed a massive spending bill, I think his first or second year in office, and he pledged he would never do it again. And yet he did it, I think, a half a dozen times again, culminating in CARES Act 1 and 2, which added another $4 trillion to the debt just in his last year in office. But I think if you have a president that lays down the marker, that's going to galvanize Republican voters and a lot of independent voters around the country. And then that puts pressure on these guys to actually do what they say they're going to do. And I think one of the problems is they're allowed to campaign as conservatives, then they get up and they just do business as usual, but they don't really get called on it the way we need to. Using that bully pulpit will make a difference, and we'll be able to lay a marker down and say we're just not going to allow this to happen. And you know what? That's happened with me in my life. I've worked well with the Florida legislature, but you know, we had an issue on congressional redistricting. I said, look, I'm going to veto this. This is not going to work for me. You know, they went ahead and passed it. I vetoed it. They had to go back in special session and fix it. So you just got to be willing to use your leverage and use your constitutional authority.
Some interesting ideas. There's definitely way too many people who get paid way too much to do very little. Many would argue they do hardly anything at all over in D.C. And one of the issues is these omnibus packages, where, again, I don't think we're not going to see a lot of changes in politics until that key issue is addressed. And that's one of those instances where they just do nothing all year long. Very similar to perhaps a student cramming for an exam, or more accurately, maybe to write a essay in college, where they do nothing for the whole semester or whole year. Then at the final hour before it's due, they take a bunch of coffee and they just write it out. Though that's probably actually more hard work and articulation than actually something the government would do. That student would probably be more effective. But nevertheless, it's one of those instances where, well, they're not going to do anything all year long, basically. And then at the end of the year, they have this big package of thousands of different laws, rules, and stipulations and budgets. And in those instances where if you don't vote for it, you're pressured and you look bad, and people who aren't educated in the nuances of it will realize, oh wait, this person just didn't want to pass something that they didn't even have time to read because it's the size of a dictionary, and they're worried maybe people at home in their district will get angry because the government got shut down. Granted, I don't know anyone who actually is affected by that, but it's a mechanism that incentivizes them to all agree with it. Because if you have that big omnibus package, if you're on the left or the right, wherever political affiliation you are, they always make sure there's a win for them in there. So that way they can go back home to their district and go, hey, I know we hate all that bill, but we got this one shiny little thing out of it. And that's how they all do it. Everyone gets at least one little shiny thing in there so they can take that back and they use the campaign. They go, hey, I didn't like this other stuff either, but they still voted for it because they want to pretend like they got a win. And that way it's almost as if the politicians are akin to children playing soccer, and everyone gets a trophy regardless of effort or actual, I was gonna say intellect, need a lot of intellect, soccer. Regardless of, perhaps more accurate term would be regardless of, I would say, effort or results. They just all get a trophy. So that's one of the main issues that I've seen in DC lately, well, for many years, frankly. Now, going to the comment section, it's usually about a 50-50 split between people who like DeSantis and people who don't like them. And in terms of political, an interview he just did, which is what we just saw, wasn't like a commercial with bombastic music and imagery. I think it was pretty good. And actually, truth be told,
then on this budget,
we actually mute it really quick. I don't think he used granted, it's an interview, I don't think he tried to smile, but we didn't see his awkward smile at the end, now that I think about it. He's talking. Let's see. He's talking. Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't have that really awkward smile. He just kind of talks as if you're having a normal conversation, which, so for some people, it's more awkward and worse to actually fake an inauthentic smile than to just talk as normal. And perhaps he's starting to learn that, because, again, as silly as it may sound, the littlest things can make all the differences in the polls. There's a whole industry of analytics behind, whole surveys and groups, so they'll show you different candidates, and just by the way, just a single button undone or done on a jacket can influence the perception of a prospective candidate. It's a fascinating psychological science in and of itself. And I can't help but think maybe he got enough feedback where he realized, I should stop, doing that awkward smile. It's not helping me out. And who knows, as silly as that sounds, maybe they'll help in polls. Granted, personally, I think the actual methodologies, the track record of the candidate, and the actual, policies, prescriptions, how to fix things, that matters the most. But if you're not closely following politicians and you're just turning on the TV every once in a while, perhaps that really, it does make a difference, and perhaps for those people especially, it makes more of an influence on the perception. That'd be fascinating to dive into the data sometime. Granted, I'm not a scientist or a doctor, but if you click the subscribe button, it may very well help with my speaking ineptitudes, my stuttering, my speaking too quickly. I guess very few guarantees in life. However, if you click the subscribe button, it very well may assist, and can't hurt to give it a shot. So I would greatly appreciate it, again, if you click that button. Now, going to the comment section, one of the first ones comes from Dustin Grudge, alligator emoji, or crocodile emoji. Personally, I can't tell the difference in the emoji community, and I do apologize right here, right now. I should be even more studious. And he simply says, Ron DeSantis or bust, let's go, fire emoji. And it looks like it's Denzel Washington, and it's a gif of him saying, my man. And that did get 179 likes. Someone by the name of Unfiltered Boss says, quote, we need to elect DeSantis. Trump had his chance and he failed. It's time for a real change in D.C., unquote. They got 349 likes. Chris Mandiot says, quote, this is why we need to elect DeSantis, make Congress do their jobs, hold their feet to the fire, unquote. And that got 285 likes. So right now, this is unprecedented. 3 for 3. I know public schools are all-time low for test scores, and ACT scores are at 30 or 32-year low. Yeah, the teachers' unions say they deserve more money. Go figure. So we'll do a little math here today. 3 out of 3. That is a 100% like ratio thus far in terms of the comments and the feedback, which is pretty darn good, to say the least. And nope, we're done. So Mr. Wild Bill NC, who has a picture of Trump with a MAGA hat as his profile, so pretty good marketing, you know what they're probably affiliated with, politically speaking. And he says, quote, 7 more days and it's over for you, unquote. And it looks like it is a video of DeSantis debating Trump, or DeSantis is speaking on the screen. Oh, Trump's giving him accolades. And it got 88 likes. Let's see here. Frank Copylove says, quote, 1 week until you lose the Iowa caucus, says Ron, unquote, getting 34 likes. So, not so good. The ratio is going down a little bit more. Doug Gulier says, quote, DeSantis or bust. Thumbs up emoji, unquote, getting 54 likes. So, coming back up a little bit. Burt Macklin, who in the profile is, in fact, a picture of Andy from Parks and Recreation in the Burt Macklin FBI suit and glasses. And his hashtag is actually at hashtag Burt Macklin FBI or underscore FBI. And he says, quote, we need to get the spending under control, unquote, getting 97 likes. Let's see. Lori says, quote, something needs to change. We can't go backwards anymore. DeSantis is the best for our future, unquote, getting 73 likes. Red Wave Press says, quote, we need a president who won't approve these massive spending deals, unquote, getting 55 likes. See here. China Joe Cheated says, quote, imagine the king of the establishment talking about the establishment. Tick, 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 tick. Almost the end of the 15 minutes for you, unquote. And it's a juxtaposition rather of a conference room. It looks like a gymnasium in Ottomum, Iowa, and it says Trump 2024, and the room is packed to the brim with many red hats, and it's juxtaposed with a small room for Ron in Ottomum, Iowa, and it's a room with much less people and no red hats at all. And that juxtaposition of pictures and the text did get 18 likes. Let's see. Digital Sass says, quote, gotta love that DeSantis thinks he can handle Congress when he can't even get rid of the red flag laws in his own state, unquote. And they got 7 likes. Now, a couple more positive statements are brewing to the surface. Or, instead of brewing, we're not talking about beer or beverages. What would be a better metaphor? What kind of high heels, what kind of noise do high heels make? Is it the clickety, clickety, click? So some positive comments are clickety, clickety, clicking to the top, or starting to come to the surface. Katie says, quote, couldn't agree more, unquote, getting 10 likes, actually. See here. Werther Mark Cialis says, quote, DeSantis will get these clowns in line. Hashtag DeSantis delivers, unquote, getting 10 likes. And perhaps the DeSantis campaign actually took my feedback, because I've been saying DeSantis delivers for months now. Truth be told, how they don't have that on swag merchandise and in every one of their campaign commercials is beyond me. Again, I'm not sure. I don't know who is in charge of the DeSantis campaign marketing, because, again, it actually is quite a remarkable feat of marketing in terms of ineptitudes when you could take something that had a proven track record, what many people would argue is a good product, or in this case, a good service or public service, where DeSantis did many things in Florida that people really appreciated. A lot of people moved to Florida because DeSantis. And they took that reputation where he was polling around 33% last January 2023 for the polls for the Republican nominee. He's gone from about 33%, and in 12 months he went down to about 12.1%, which is almost impossibly bad. It's kind of like a train wreck. You really can't help but keep looking. You're just so fascinated with, I can't fathom, what is the marketing department going to do this week? They keep shooting themselves in the high-heeled boot with a 50 caliber. Just when you think they can't do anything worse, they just do it again. So it will be interesting to see, and we'll do 1 or 2 more comments here, but yeah, again, he needs new, better, more effective people in the marketing department. Let's see. Casual Ambivert says, quote, I'm sorry, but I'll never trust you. It's nothing you've done, but more so how you speak to people, unquote. They got 5 likes. American Girl, which is a profile picture, is in fact of an American, or allegedly girl, although I do not see a bald eagle or an American flag, or I was going to say Chevrolet, but that's a French name. So we'll just say this alleged, and I don't even think she has a gun. So this alleged American girl, she says, quote, MAGA Mike betrayed us, unquote, getting 6 likes. So they seem to get more and more negative. Let's see. We'll do one, try to find one more that has more than 1 or 2 likes here. Let's see. Oh, this one. NC Defender says, quote, I'm not sure about you, Ron DeSantis, anymore. You're becoming irrelevant too soon, and Haley is hot on your heels, unfortunately. She's got to go. Back Trump, unquote. And they got 3 likes. So again, let me know in the... What the heck? I'll do one more because it's so bizarre. Maybe do a double take. So someone by the name of MAGA Man has a sketch or cartoon, and I suppose it's a roast, pun intended. It is a cartoon of DeSantis wearing high-heeled boots with a fork in him, and the text on the screen says he's done, unquote. That did get 8 likes, and as we scroll down, they get more and more. They are more and more critiquing Ron than actually supporting him, or as the youth might say, they just simply ratioed him, to say the least. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, his campaign has gone down so much. I mean, what will it take for him to realistically turn it around? And can he turn it around in time? I mean, again, I'm not sure who's in charge of his campaign right now, or if he's actually hired someone with a modicum of intelligence, but they certainly need to shake some things up, to say the least. Let me know in the comments, has your perception of DeSantis decreased in the past year, or has it maintained, or has it actually gone up in the past year? As usual, be fast to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in again today. Trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of January. So if you click that button, I really appreciate it. Also, giving a thumbs up and leaving a comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback. I do apologize if it takes me a little while to get the comments, but I always try to get to them, and I appreciate the additional feedback. Also, and lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.